London in the 1700s was loud, crowded, ambitious, and uneasy. By the early 18th century, it was the largest city in Europe, home to more than 600,000 people and growing fast. Smoke hung over the rooftops, church bells cut through the air, the River Thames tied everything together. In this video, I use modern AI tools to bring historic paintings, engravings, and prints to life, allowing us to shift perspective, change camera angles, and move through the same scenes in ways their original artists never could. We are not just looking at London, we are walking through it. First, I want to talk about the river that made the city possible. This view shows the River Thames and London Bridge. This view shows the River Thames in the early 1700s, wide and busy, flowing east toward the sea. In the foreground, small wherries and cargo barges crowd the water. In the midground, London Bridge stretches across the river, still lined with buildings, shops, and narrow arches. By the 1700s, the Thames was London's main highway. Coal from Newcastle, timber from the Baltic, sugar, rum, and tobacco from the Atlantic world. The air smells of tar, wet rope, and river mud. Watermen shout for fares. Bells ring as boats scrape stone piers. But the river is dangerous. The bridge's narrow arches create fierce currents. Boats capsize. People drown. In winter, the Thames sometimes freezes, leading to frost fares, the last major one held in 1739-40. London Bridge mattered because it connected trade, people, and power. It was the city's spine. Later in the century, the old bridge was finally recognized as a problem. Its demolition would begin in the 1800s. Today, this crossing still exists, rebuilt and widened, but the river remains London's beating heart. This view shows the Tower of London and the Eastern Docks. This view shows the Tower of London rising above the eastern riverbank. Its stone walls look ancient even in the 1700s. Behind it, masts fill the skyline. By this century, the tower is no longer a royal palace. It is an arsenal, a prison, and a symbol of authority. Nearby, the docks are packed with ships unloading goods from across the empire. Cranes creak, sailcloth flaps, the smell of spices mixes with rot and smoke. The danger here is crime and control. Smuggling is constant, theft is common. Executions still happen nearby, reminders of state power. The tower stands as a warning. This area matters because it anchors London's global reach. By 1707, after the Act of Union, London is capital of Great Britain. Trade flows through these docks. Today, the tower still stands, visited by millions, while the docks have been transformed into modern districts. This view shows St. Paul's Cathedral and the rebuilt city. This view shows St. Paul's Cathedral dominating the skyline, its great dome completed in 1710 under Sir Christopher Wren. In the foreground, narrow streets spread outward like veins. By the 1700s, London is still rebuilding after the Great Fire of 1666. Brick and stone replace timber. Church spires rise again. Carriages rattle over cobblestones. Daily life here is busy and noisy. Printers, booksellers, and coffee houses surround the cathedral. Ideas move as fast as people. The smell of ink and roasting coffee fills the air. Yet fire is still feared. Buildings stand close. Disease lingers. Plague has faded, but memory remains strong. St. Paul's matters because it represents renewal and confidence. It shows a city willing to rebuild bigger and stronger. Today, the dome still defines London's skyline, much as it did 3 centuries ago. This view shows the city streets and crowded markets. This view shows a narrow street in the city of London. Timber-framed houses lean inward, signs hang overhead, the sky is barely visible. By the 1700s, these streets are packed from dawn to dusk. Hawkers cry out, horses strain under carts, fish, meat, and vegetables are sold in open air. The smell is overwhelming. The danger is constant congestion. Accidents happen daily. Pickpockets move through crowds. Sanitation is poor. Waste runs into gutters. These streets matter because this is where London works. Commerce happens face to face. Deals are shouted, not written. Later reforms will widen streets and regulate markets. Today, some of these lanes still exist, tucked between modern buildings. This view shows Westminster and the seat of power. This view shows Westminster Hall and the old Palace of Westminster, long before the Victorian rebuilding. The Thames runs close by. Guards and officials move through the scene. By the 1700s, this is the heart of British government. Parliament meets here. Power is debated and displayed. In 1714, the Hanoverian dynasty begins with George I, reshaping politics.
Daily life mixes ceremony and tension. Crowds gather during major debates. News spreads fast through pamphlets and coffeehouses. The danger is political unrest. Jacobite uprisings in 1715 and 1745 threaten stability. Fear of rebellion is real. Westminster matters because laws made here shape an empire. Today, this same area remains the center of British government, rebuilt after the fire of 1834. This view shows Covent Garden and public entertainment. This view shows Covent Garden, an open piazza surrounded by arcades. In the center, market stalls and performers draw crowds. By the 1700s, this area is London's entertainment hub. Theaters nearby stage plays by writers like Congreve and later Sheridan. Music spills into the square. Daily life here is colorful. Flower sellers, actors, pickpockets, and aristocrats mix together. The smell of perfume blends with food and sweat. The danger is disorder. Drunken fights break out. Policing is limited. Night brings risk, especially for women. Covent Garden matters because it shows London's cultural life. Pleasure and profit meet here. Today, the area still thrives as a center of performance and public gathering. This view shows the West End and aristocratic squares. This view shows a newly built Georgian square, such as Grosvenor Square, developed in the early 1700s. Brick townhouses stand in perfect rows. By this century, the wealthy are moving west. These planned spaces feel orderly and calm. Servants move quietly. Carriages arrive for dinners and balls. Daily life here is controlled and private, but tension exists beneath the surface. Wealth depends on trade, colonial profits, and inequality. These squares matter because they reflect a new idea of urban living. Design becomes a statement of class. Today, many of these squares still exist, surrounded by embassies and luxury homes. This view shows Southwark and working London. This view shows Southwark, south of the Thames. Breweries, workshops, and poor housing fill the frame. By the 1700s, this area houses laborers, migrants, and the poor. The sound of hammers and boiling vats dominates. The smell of beer, leather, and smoke is strong. Danger is everywhere. Industrial accidents are common. Crime flourishes in overcrowded housing. Southwark matters because it keeps London running. While rarely celebrated, its labor supports the city's wealth. Today, this area has been rebuilt many times, but traces of its working past remain. This view shows coffee houses and the spread of ideas. This view shows a coffee house interior. Men crowd around tables. Papers are spread out. Conversation fills the room. By the 1700s, coffee houses are everywhere. For a penny, anyone can join discussion. Politics, science, and gossip mix freely. The danger here is not physical, but intellectual. Authorities fear radical ideas. Surveillance is common. These spaces matter because they help shape public opinion. Newspapers and financial markets grow here.
Today, this culture survives in different forms, but the idea of shared public debate began here. This view shows nightfall and the fragile city. This view shows London at night. Oil lamps cast weak light, shadows dominate the streets. By the 1700s, nighttime is dangerous, crime increases, watchmen patrol slowly, fires can start unseen. Daily life slows but never stops. Taverns stay open, river traffic continues. This matters because it reminds us how vulnerable the city was. Order was fragile, safety was uncertain. Modern policing would not arrive until the 1800s. Today, London glows with electric light, but the old fears once shaped every decision after dark. London in the 1700s feels distant on the page, but when we reconstruct it visually, street by street, it feels close again. You can sense the movement, the noise, the risk, and the ambition. These were real people, navigating a city still becoming itself. If there's another city, moment, or historical scene you'd like to see reconstructed this way, let me know in the comments. I'd love to explore it with you. Again, thank you so much.